Welcome, everyone. It's that time again. Cannabis News with Joe Klare. It's February 26, 2019. Presented, as always, by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there. You can also find you can find the show there. You can find a bunch of great articles as well, great writers, social media links, and more. marijuanatimes.org. Today, we're talking about the hemp industry and a new era in the hemp industry. Also, a problem with butane hash oil, some explosions, some fires in the manufacturing of such. Supposedly it's a new problem, but it's not really. Talk about that. Also, retail marijuana sales and especially edible sales spiking on Valentine's Day. Delve into those numbers. All that's coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free. Don't use banned pesticides. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you are growing. You can accomplish all of this with our awesome sponsor, Natureside, nature-side.com. Site is spelled C-I-D-E. Go check them out. And they are a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. That and many other things make them awesome. This first story by yours truly over at marijuanatimes.org, rather. A new day in the hemp industry. I got a chance to get some quotes and talk with Colleen Cahey-Lanier, who's the executive director of the Hemp Industries Association, basically talking about how the 2018 Farm Bill came to be, some of the history behind that, as well as what it means for the hemp industry. Obviously, it creates a lot of potential for the hemp industry, but it's still up to states, individual states, to get their programs in place, get their regulations in place, get growing going. There's still some states that don't even have pilot programs for growing. States like Ohio, who have not planted a single centimeter of an acre. Is that how it works? I'm not good with land measurements, obviously. If that's not proof enough. You go from centimeters to acres. Is an acre a metric system? It doesn't sound like it. But in any case, some states are behind, but now they have a chance to move forward and unleash an industry that's established. People love hemp products. There's obviously a lot of CBD products. There's a huge demand for these products. We used to have to import hemp from overseas and from Canada, and now here we are. Farmers can actually take advantage of this. They can get away from things like tobacco, which of course aren't as popular anymore for obvious reasons. And there's just so much that can be done with the hemp industry, and now the federal government has pretty much gotten out of the way of that happening. This next story from Politico.com. New problem for legal weed: exploding pot factories. It's dumb. It's a dumb headline. I mean, they're not pot factories. It makes it sound like they manufacture pot, like an assembly line, like a Chrysler. They assemble a pot plant in a factory and ship it out. It's not how it works. There aren't pot factories. And this is not a new problem for legal weed. It's not a new problem for cannabis in general, whether you're talking black market or legitimate market. The problem with butane is it's flammable. I mean, yeah, precautions can be taken, obviously, and a lot of manufacturers and processors are moving away, when they're doing extractions, are moving away from butane to things that may be tougher to use, things that may be more expensive, but things that are much safer, like CO2, for example. And they're getting away from butane for this very problem. And it says that whoever wrote this, you can tell it's just kind of something they just learned about. So they were kind of they said, maybe their editor told them, hey, just butane hash oil, there's been some fires, put a story together, and this woman was like, oh, I don't know anything about that. And they were like, oh, we'll go watch some YouTube videos and get this done. We need it by the end of the day. And here you go. States are facing a new danger as legal marijuana spreads across the country. Explosions and fires at cannabis factories are sending workers to the hospital with severe burns, revealing the nascent industry's lack of proper safety standards. And she goes on in this to talk about the lack of regulation, as if regulations would cause people to not want to blow themselves up, as if tougher safety standards would make people stop wanting to blow themselves up. Believe me, these people don't want to blow themselves up. They don't want to ignite this butane. Obviously, they've done something wrong. Now, education is key, of course. If you're going to do this with butane, you got to be educated. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. Safety standards, sure, that'd be great. If someone can reference some safety standards, still not going to make them any more likely or any less likely to want to blow themselves up. They don't want that to happen. It's not a lack of regulation. It's a lack of education mixed with the fact that butane's flammable. You can take all the precautions in the world. Any kind of spark around that butane is going to cause something bad to happen. Obviously, you can mitigate those things with good ventilation, doing it outside, whatever, getting away from butane hash oil extraction altogether. But to say, oh, well, it's a lack of safety standards. No, it's a lack of education. You don't need standards. If the standards provided the education, then that's great. But other things provide education on this. Well, the aforementioned YouTube videos. There's tons. There's tons of them. There's tons of articles just telling you basic things not to do. Don't do it in an enclosed space. Things of that nature. And like I said, these people, they don't want to blow themselves up. They need to get away from things that allow that to happen. And if they are going to use butane, educate yourself. Don't wait for the government to tell you what to do or give you regulations, or don't wait even for some association to give you guidelines. What if you blow yourself up? They don't pay the consequences for that. You do. You got blown up. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't blow yourself up. If you think there's a chance you're going to blow yourself up, well, alternatives. Look for alternatives. Put some energy into thinking of different ways that you could get the same thing accomplished without the risk of blowing yourself up. If you're waiting for the government or some association to tell you not to blow yourself up, I don't know what to do for you. That's not good. Butane's flammable. And if it gets sparked in some way, it's going to catch fire and maybe cause an explosion. It's butane. They use it in lighters. This stuff's not difficult. And they mentioned in the story there's been 10 in 33 states. There's been 10 fires or explosions in 5 years. I would imagine there's many industries that have had a worse record than that. Many more people involved in accidents where they were injured or killed. I'm sure dozens of industries have much worse safety record than that. And that's because a lot of people are getting away from butane. Obviously, if everybody used it, there'd be more fires and explosions. But they don't because, well, it's flammable. This last story. Did I mention butane's flammable? I think we all got that. Okay. MJBizDaily.com. Adult use marijuana sales spiked 7% on Valentine's Day. You see there, well, you can't see it. Now you can if you're watching the video version of the show. If you're watching the video version, if I show it to you, then you can see it. The Valentine's Day spending on adult use marijuana. You see there marijuana spending eclipsed flowers and candy. You can also see there the year-over-year increase in marijuana sales, transaction sales from Alaska, Colorado, and Oregon combined. Again, year over year. Not only that, point of sale data from Denver-based cannabis software firm FlowHub found that 2019 Valentine's Day spending increased among recreational marijuana consumers. Combined retail sales in Alaska, Colorado, and Oregon spiking 7% on February 14th relative to an average Thursday. In other words, things like marijuana candies and edibles and brownies and such are becoming more mainstream, and obviously as they become more mainstream, more people will buy them for their significant other. And I'm biased, obviously, but that's a great gift. That's a great gift. First of all, it's expensive these days, especially in the legal market. To get legal edibles is still, the supply chain is still in its infancy in a lot of places. So it creates, some expense around edibles. So that's one of the reasons that, the marijuana expenditures are more than, say, candy or flowers. And not only is it thoughtful, it's expensive, it has great uses. It checks all the boxes of a great, wonderful, romantic, and yet practical gift on something like Valentine's Day. Again, I'm biased. Maybe that shows. I don't know. But I think if you got your significant other some sort of marijuana edibles on Valentine's Day, I think that was a good call. Hey, who am I? You know what I'm saying? FlowHub's data shows the Valentine's Day weekend spending in adult use marijuana retail stores hit 3.15 million in 2019, 3% increase over 2018. And those numbers obviously will continue to go up as the supply chain problem is worked out and the price comes down, sales will go up and more people will turn to marijuana edibles and candies and such on holidays like Valentine's Day and other holidays as well. Thanks everybody for checking us out today. Cannabis news, another one in the books. Thank you, Natureside. Nature-side.com and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all who watch and listen and share and comment. Please continue to do so. You are awesome, and we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.